Okay, contest time! Everybody's eligible across the earth, even if you live in Antarctica or something, although I might want to jump off a cliff if I have to ship something to Antarctica. Everybody's eligible. The only things that you can't include in the photography are little children or full nudity, you know, with somebody in a bikini or whatever, that's fine. You'd include, needs to be a JPEG image, make it simple. It needs to be 5 megabytes or less. If it's 6 megabytes, no big deal, don't care about that. So it needs to be that. So include a JPEG image. You have to have taken it. Okay. Include name and address, the JPEG image, and the contest is for a brand new Siri monopod. And I'll throw in a couple of extra little gifts that I'll remain unnamed. It's a P326 awesome, super awesome, brand new carbon fiber monopod. And anybody in the world is eligible. I mentioned what the contest parameters were going to be last week, but I didn't mention what the contest was going to be. So I said everybody's eligible anywhere in the world, Asia, Africa, you know, Australia, whatever. I'll ship it to wherever I have to ship it. Well, that the parameters would be that I've got 2 other people. One used to teach art, and the other one is an artist himself. And we're all going to judge the pictures. We're all going to take a score. They're going to make a list of all the pictures, and then we're going to take the top 10, and then I'll have a drawing that will be filmed. You know, no funny play. I'll display that. I'll make another video. The contest will end a week from this coming Sunday. So, what is that date? So, this coming Sunday is the 26th. So, the contest will end on, so for a week from that. So, it'll end at very late in the evening on August the 1st, i.e. the crack of dawn on July the 2nd. So it will end at the very beginning of Sunday. So a week from this coming Sunday, it will end. And then we'll take 3 days to judge, because they both work still. And it'll be honest and fair and logical. I mean, I won't take any of my own personal considerations into what I like to see, but all based upon the aesthetics and the composition of the image. I'll get to a second here what sort of photograph it is to take. So it will end at 12 midnight on August the 2nd. Okay, that means very, very early, so it means late Saturday. Okay. So once we come to the conclusion of the top 10 finalists, I'll make another video where I put all the top 10 finalists. I'll make a video showing the 10 pictures of the 10 winners. In other words, the people that won the top 10 spots. And then I'll actually fold them up and I'll do a blind drawing of who wins. Okay, and you all said that was fair. Only a couple people complained about that, but everybody else said that that was fair. So I just wanted to I put that forward to you a week or so ago. So what it's going to be is 50% of the image or more, okay, needs to be blurred. We'll be talking about action shots, conveying action and composition. There's a little wheel. Here we go. Here's another image of an example. Now, one thing that aids greatly in this is flash photography, but it doesn't have to be flash photography. Here we go. Here's another example. Here we're conveying action. Okay. Now, if you're going to take a huge picture and like show a little toy car rolling across the floor of it moving, that doesn't qualify. Okay, I'm not going to say, oh, it's exactly 50%. It's 40%, so it doesn't qualify. You know, that's not going to be the case. But it needs to be roughly right about 50% or more of blur. Okay, so if your subject, your main frozen subject is 5%, 10%, 20%, that's all fine. But when it convey at least roughly 50%, if it's 40%, that's still forgivable. That's still fine, and you're like, oh god, this would be a tough one. A lot of people have never done this sort of photography. Here you can see the moving trolley bus and the frozen, the still of the telephone box. Okay, So the main subject here is about 20% of the composition, and the motion blur to convey the composition is, I don't know, 70% or more. You could be a time exposure, so you could see rolling cars going by. Here's a very simple example. I mean, this is just dice with illumination and I assume rear curtain sync on rolling dice. And it could be like that, but you need to have basically 50% or more. If it's 40%, that's forgivable, but 50% or more of motion. Now this one doesn't qualify, although it comes pretty close. This is one that I took. This is my desktop. It was just a time exposure, and you can actually see the blur of the people and the cars going by. This one would still basically qualify, even though the blur is only about 30% of the total composition of the shot. So the important thing is you think outside of the box and start thinking of your camera as a time machine, which of course it is, and that you start thinking about not seeing what is there in front of your eyeballs, but what you can do so far as creating an image. And so just make it JPEG, 5 megabytes or less. If it's 6, that's fine. Include name and address, and then all three of us will get all the images. We'll make a list. It's like this makes top 10, this one does, this one does. And then the consensus of those three people, and I'll be perfectly logical and fair. It's like, well, this is a picture of that, and I don't like pictures of that. I'm not going to do that, and they know already ahead of time that they can't do that either. They would be fair regardless of what they think about any particular subject matter. Like I said, you got to keep nudes out of it, and you got to keep children out of it unless the child's back is turned and you can't see their face. So it can't be, it can't be children. Can't have children. No children, no nudes. Okay, anything else is perfectly fine. And the top 10 finalists will be a video. I'll show the video of the top 10 finalists, then I'll make another video and draw from there, and everybody's eligible as to who wins this. And I'll include another thing or two that I won't mention to go along with the carbon fiber monopod. And like I said, I think that is a very fair contest, and I ran it by you all about a week ago, and you said it was fair. And I just want it to be fair and everybody to be happy. And the important thing of this is that you consider options for expanding your photographic horizons as far as your compositional spectrum of what you are capable of producing versus what your eyeballs can see every second. You got to start thinking in terms of creating motion, and that may not be your thing, but that's this contest. You may be interested in macro or portraiture, but there are tons and tons of valid portraitures that include blur. I mean, the notion that everything's got to be sharp. I mean, the heck with that. I mean, it's like, oh, it's all got to be. No, what about some blur to convey action, emotion, and drama? I mean, the poetry of your photographic composition is just one shot, one image that you've created. Hopefully it's not a snapshot, but an image you've created. And that, you can use every tool and every capability within your own mind to create image blur that translates into motion and the definition of what you're trying to create. And so anyway, that's the premise of this. So it needs to be 50% or more motion blur. But if it's 40%, that's fine. But you need to have. It doesn't have to be your primary object that has to be sharp. It doesn't have to, it could be your secondary. Your primary could be blurred, and your background could be blurred, and your primary could be perfectly sharp, or it could be reversed. Your primary could be blurred and your background is sharp. So it doesn't have to be one way or the other, okay? So that's not a parameter of this. Okay, so the background could be blurred and your subject could be sharp, okay? Or your subject could be blurred and your background could be sharp. So either one is perfectly valid as long as the translation of the composition is basically 50% or more, roughly, of blur. Out of focus blur to create that sort of a composition. So anyway, I flapped my lips too much. So sorry about that. It's obviously a negative attribute that I've got that everybody keeps beating me over the head about. So here's the monopod. The contest, I believe, is completely fair. I pay for shipping, and I just want you all to have a good time. And even if you don't win the contest, I can't buy 10 monopods. I can't get 10 monopods to give away, but it's a doozy, and someone's going to get it. And at the very least, you expand your horizons on what you shoot. So. And it is an awesome monopod too, by the way. And I'll throw in a couple of other little gifts in there, in the box. And said everybody's eligible worldwide. Send me any questions if you have anything. If I didn't, I thought I made things really clear, but if I didn't, just ask me a question. Like I said, contest ends a week from this coming Sunday. Okay, so. Today is Thursday, right? Well, technically it's Friday, so you got 9 or 10 days basically to send in your submission, okay? And then I'll take 3 or 4 days to judge the results because I have to wait on them also. And anyway, I think that's fair. I think I made things nice and clear. Thank you for watching, and I hope somebody out there, somebody's going to win the monopod, so thanks for watching.